Western Oregon. This is NBC 16 News at 6:30.
First at 6:30, an executive order from President Trump over the weekend looks to loosen up the regulations around logging in the United States. Good evening and thanks for joining us for NBC 16 News at 6:30. I'm Alan Matthews.
And I'm Gold Meadows. Tonight, a controversial executive order from President Donald Trump is reigniting a fierce debate over Oregon's forests.
The directive aims to ramp up logging on public lands, cutting environmental protections in the name of economic growth and wildfire prevention.
While some welcome the order, critics say it's a giveaway to the timber industry at the expense of wildlife, clean water, and climate resilience.
NBC 16's Tiffany Lewis spoke to a local environmental group and logging contractor for their take on how the order will impact Oregon's forests.
The stated purpose of this executive order is to fully exploit our public forests, not to improve their health.
I don't know a single logging company, logger, employee that wants to be a destructive force in our forest.
A sweeping order from President Trump directs the Department of Interior and the Department of Agriculture, which oversee the Bureau of Land Management and the U.S. Forest Service, to expedite timber production by streamlining regulations, including those under the National Environmental Policy Act and the Endangered Species Act. Oregon Wild, the state's oldest statewide environmental nonprofit, argues the order prioritizes corporate profits over conservation and public interest.
What this executive order does is try to get around those requirements, cut out the public from the process of how our public lands are managed, and also remove science from those decisions.
The agency worries that old growth and mature forests will be targeted. They play a crucial role in storing carbon, protecting wildlife, and wildfire resilience. The order does not differentiate between forest types or ages and directs agencies to unburden themselves from laws designed to protect threatened and endangered species.
The types of ramped up logging that this executive order envisions and aims to implement are just completely contrary to the values of Oregonians.
Skyam Timber, a logging contractor company based in Cresswell, sees the executive order as an opportunity to boost economic growth, especially in rural areas, increase timber supply to address national housing shortages, and mitigate forest fires. The CEO also pushed back on what he called buzzwords from environmental protection agencies that he says misrepresent the logging industry.
We're stewards of the forest. Our industry has made great strides in the last 20 years to make sure that we have long-term benefits and healthy forests and clean water. And the use of buzzwords is really detracting from what we're trying to do.
Cameron argues that laws requiring 3 to 5 trees be planted for every tree that's cut down will still apply and challenges the narrative surrounding clear cutting.
The people that are working these projects want a sustainable yield. We don't want to go in there and clear cut everything and take everything out and then not have a program where that's a viable healthy forest 30, 40, 50, 100 years down the road.
With the debate heating up, conservationists and industry leaders are watching closely as federal agencies decide how to implement the executive order.
Tiffany Lewis reporting. Now, Governor Tina Kotek and state officials have yet to announce any formal action in response to this executive order, but environmental advocates are calling for legal challenges and stronger state-level protections.
Business owners and consumers alike across the U.S. are bracing for President Donald Trump's tariff war to continue to unfold with Mexico, Canada, and China. But ultimately, it could be the smaller local businesses that have the most to lose.
Inside the 5th Street Public Market in Eugene, where local treasures abound, is Eugene Burger Company, owned by Travis Endell. 2 years ago, Endell opened up shop, and he says the burger spot is now keeping a close watch on what's happening in Washington, D.C., as President Trump's tariffs could hike costs he and his customers incur.
It's inevitably going to have an impact on all consumer goods and products. It's going to possibly lead to just higher prices across the board, overpriced, where we're going to have to look to source from other places, and I think it's just going to cause quite a bit of problems for all kinds of industries.
According to the Associated Press, top imports from China include cell phones and electronics, toys, furniture, and clothes. Mexico imports a large amount of produce into the U.S., like avocados and strawberries. As for Canada, the U.S. Energy Information Administration says in 2023, the U.S. imported 52% of its daily barrels of petroleum from Canada. The Bay Area Chamber of Commerce tells us some lumber companies like Southport Lumber could also see impacts since many get a large portion of their lumber from Canada. President Trump says it's not just a tariff war, but a war on drugs.
No room left for Mexico or for Canada. No, the tariffs, they're all set. Vast amounts of fentanyl have poured into our country from Mexico. And as you know, also from China, where it goes to Mexico and goes to Canada. And China also had an additional 10, so it's 10 plus 10.
That's a total of 20% in tariffs for China and 25% tariffs on products from Mexico and Canada. Levies that might throw a wrench into Trump's promise to end inflation with costs expected to rise. Unlike large corporations, Indel says smaller businesses don't have a cushion to fall back on in most cases. And right now, business growth isn't a wise option.
Nobody wants to overextend themselves, at least the business owners that I'm familiar with and speak with on a regular basis. Somebody who is in their own brick and mortar, sitting on a corner, isolated, it's difficult to get people to consistently come through the doors, even if you have great food to offer. And so when you add all these new concerns as a business owner, it's risky to think about any expansion or investing in a new business in the community.
And Indel tells us the food industry is still healing from the pandemic, but together they'll rise again with hopes that the tariff war is short-lived. Moving now to weather with a live look over Eugene tonight. Alan Matthews has a first look at your forecast, and I had to bid farewell to that beautiful warm weather.
Oh, it's going to come back, don't worry. So I think people get excited when temperatures get in the 60s. They're already excited.
Any sign of warmth?
I know. We're still a couple weeks away from the first day of spring, so calm down. But this week's not going to be terrible. So at least that's one takeaway from this. 50 degrees right now in Eugene under a mostly cloudy sky. West-southwest wind at 7 and our humidity right now at 71%. Radar satellite, we're seeing a lot of cloud cover across the area. And while we did see some light rain this afternoon, really didn't show up here on the radar. In fact, most everybody just reporting trace amounts of precipitation except for the coast. Now, as we look ahead at what to expect tonight into your day on Tuesday, we'll see the cloud cover tonight with some showers developing later tonight and into your day on Tuesday. Those highs tomorrow are going to be in the low to mid 50s, so kind of in line with what we saw today. Like I said, showers likely tonight into Tuesday. Then we'll see a rain chance for Wednesday and Thursday, not as great as what we're going to see tomorrow. Temperatures for the most part will be near average for this time of the year, and it looks like we'll be looking at a dry end of the week, and things will get a little bit warmer. We'll break it all down with your full forecast in just a bit. Gold?
Thank you, Alan. Some Eugene community members are kicking off a campaign to voice their support for the controversial fire fee that Eugene City Council recently adopted. You're looking at a live look now at the rally that just got underway at the Oregon Wine Lab. It's being dubbed the Eugene Save Our Services campaign. Organizers say it's in response to the Eugene Chamber of Commerce's move to gather signatures to refer the fire fee to the ballot. The group says this fire fee is critical to filling the city's multi-million-dollar budget shortfall so that critical services don't get cut. The search continues for a missing 2-year-old boy near the Oregon coast. Dane Paulson was last seen playing in the front yard of his home near Siletz on Saturday. Since then, multiple agencies have scrambled to try to find him, with crews in the air, on the ground, and in the water.
Now, Dane is described as friendly and fearless. We're told that Dane loves water but cannot swim. Shelby Slaughter from our Portland sister station has been there all day and has the story.
And the search today continues for 2-year-old Dane on the ground, in the air, and in the water. You can see crews are out right now searching the water for this little boy.
We've had people from Castle Rock, Washington, Boise, Idaho.
Hundreds of people stepping out in Siletz, Oregon on Monday in hopes of reuniting 2-year-old Dane Paulson with his family. One major focus for crews today, the Siletz River.
Stay away from the water.
Jeff Lawrence is with the Elks Lodge by the Paulson's home and is urging anyone who is helping with the search to not get too close because the water's current is strong.
We don't need another search out here.
Officials say Dane was last seen wearing a gray fuzzy hoodie with ears, blue and white shoes, and black pants. He has brown hair and green eyes.
And if you have any information on Dane's disappearance, you're urged to contact the Lincoln County Sheriff's Office.
A shooting in Eugene sends one to the hospital, closing down a portion of a neighborhood this afternoon.
The shooting occurred just after 3 p.m. and Eugene police say the two people involved knew each other. It happened in the area just south of Willamette Street near 23rd Avenue. That led to an alert from the University of Oregon asking people to avoid the area.
That alert from UO has since been canceled, and Eugene police say there is no ongoing threat to the area. EPD says one person was taken to a local hospital. We don't know the condition of that individual or whether anyone is in custody. We'll bring you the latest as it comes into our newsroom.
Federal funding is still flowing at the Eugene 4J School District, days after the Department of Education set a deadline to remove DEI in schools or risk losing federal funds. 4J was the first K-12 district in the nation to join a lawsuit against the administration's Dear Colleague letter, saying they needed further clarification. The district says Department of Education did send out a clarification letter at the end of last week. 4J has yet to share it with us. The district says as far as it knows, federal funding hasn't been pulled anywhere in the nation.